Yo, YouTube. This is Matt again, coming at you from my basement in Indiana. This week I decided I wanted to do something along the fantasy lines. So I've got this kind of winter, I've been calling it the Winter Wonderland, or just the Winterlands. But it's the last moment when this Viking comes back from a journey, or ends his journey here, and he sees that his biggest challenge is still ahead of him. This one was a lot of fun to work on, so hopefully you stick around and watch the process. So, getting started, I went through and pulled several images of mountains from Envato Elements and a few skies, some of the pictures of the northern lights, and I really just wanted to stick with the few images I had and see what I could make out of those. I had some nice background elements, some good foreground elements, and what I really wanted to do with this one is create something that was very much winter time, something that felt winter through and through. And I love having the northern lights or the aurora in the background because you usually find that in very much polar places. So here you can see I'm isolating some mountains and I'm shifting everything to a blue tone. I wanted this to be at night. And then here's the aurora. And you'll see I get rid of that for a while. And then I have this city. And I tried a couple different versions of a city or a castle or something in the background because I wanted something for this Viking I have to be showing up to. I wanted a place for him to be arriving to. And I always knew I kind of wanted an impediment there, which would be this dragon, kind of in between him and his journey's end. And as time goes on, you can see I kind of decide that maybe I don't need the city there. Maybe it's just the city is off in the background or just beyond the mist or something. What really mattered was having that dragon be in the foreground. I try a bunch of different things here. What I really ended up liking in this composition, though, was the river. And I decided a water element would be really awesome. And then also that the water element may need to be something that was unnatural or magical, kind of to bring this fantasy element all the way together. So once I stop playing around with the city, you'll see I play some with the dragon's placement, where it should be in relative terms in between the city and the Viking. And then I decide that I like the water that's here, but I want some stronger water. So I start playing with magical versions of water. Here you can see I find another castle because I don't feel like that first city is working well enough for me. And then pretty quickly thereafter, you'll see I kind of give up and move on without it. Once I had everything in position, you'll see I bring in an image of the aurora, and I wanted a glowing lake. I wanted something to provide uplight onto both the dragon and the surrounding mountains. I didn't necessarily want that to be a reflection of the sky. I wanted the lake to also be its own light source. So here I'm going through and getting rid of all of the stars in the lake, or in the image of the aurora as it originally was, and then just kind of blurring and moving things around so that it feels much more fluid. Then after that, you'll see I go through and add some glow effects off the lake, some steam and things rising up from the lake. And then just making my most foreground element here an obvious cliff. Want it to be so that everything is falling away from there, and you can see he's on an elevated position looking down at this dragon. So as the dragon became more and more central to the composition, I really wasn't happy with the original contrast from the image that was there. It was an old kind of fantasy painting, and I wanted it to fit much more with the contrast levels in the realistic ground that's there. So after trying to get the contrast to work several different ways, different adjustment layers, I finally just give up and end up hand painting over the entire dragon, really. So here you can see I'm going through and kind of matching the contrast one, but also the lighting. Just because I felt like the wings were very out of place, there weren't enough shadows, and everything was at the wrong levels of contrast and lightness. So I go through and that actually ended up taking me the longest in this entire composition, was getting this dragon to really work the way I wanted it to. And once I was done with that, it was kind of a simple matter of doing highlights up from the lake and down from the sky on both the dragon and the mountains and the Viking. And then going through and adding snow. And I wanted it to feel very cold and in the middle of this cold winter's night. So here you'll see I go through and make all of these adjustments and get the wings just how I like them. And then I'll move on to those final details. Just as a little side note here, this is the first piece I had done since getting my graphics tablet. I had always done my highlights and things like that with a mouse. Didn't think it was taking me that much longer until I got this new tablet, and it's so much faster. So that's been a joy to work with, and it's increased my workflow by a lot. And I have a Huion Canvas 12. I got it on sale. Really pretty cheap comparatively to other graphics tablets I've seen. And I haven't had any issues with it, so I really like it, and it's something I would recommend. about finished up with everything here. Time for the old carry me filter. And then we'll get on to some shots of it done. Alright, that's another piece done with. If you like the content I'm making, be sure to show your support by leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to be doing some more stuff like this and editing your photos and cosplay photos, things like that. So be sure to look for the link in the description if you want to submit any photos for me to edit. And until then, have a good one.